All right, CytoDyn. Going to do an update on these guys. Ticker is CYDY. Small cap, OTC biotech. They have one pipeline asset right now, leronlimab, and that is a monoclonal antibody CCR5 receptor antagonist, and it is in a variety of indications. And I mean a variety. It's not like, an oncology drug that can work for, non-small cell lung cancer, and then, breast cancer, and then, various different metastases and lines of therapy. Actually, let's just go to the pipeline. We're talking a broad range: infectious disease, oncology, liver, and neurological. So just about everything, really. I mean, there's obviously a lot more different indications out there, but this is very broad. Idea being that CCR5 is involved in almost countless number of diseases and symptoms, and so it's just going to be plenty of different indications to go after. They've targeted HIV first, and then their first endeavor was basically to get this combination therapy with other antivirals for HIV. Fast track designation, and they were close. It took them a while to get. They had a rolling BLA. Took them a while to get it in, and then they got like a refusal to file. Nothing matched up. The CRO did not do well. Didn't get now they were fighting to get the data back. I think they're in the process of really trying to get that, punch that through the FDA now, but so that's where they're at. I think that's the first thing they're going to tackle. All these other ones are still moving forward to a certain extent, or kind of been halted to, to see where they're at. They need money. Let's actually get to the point of the video, which is, and I'll circle back. I apologize. These guys just released 2 press releases, updates, I should say. And let's go to those now. Press releases. So they're going to be hosting a quarterly update. Nothing big, except these guys have been, in comparison to their previous CEO, these guys are like on lockdown. So it's, anytime they open up their mouth, it's becoming a little bit more potent. No elaborations really, but the fact that they're, they announced on the 19th that tomorrow that they're gonna, today's Tuesday, tomorrow, the 28th, they're gonna be hosting a webcast for a quarterly update. Now, that's fine. It's just like, ooh, let's see where we're at, because we haven't heard anything, no updates. What are we doing with the pipeline? What's leronlimab doing? What's our cash position, etc. Let's get an idea of what's going on with this company. Now, the other thing that, actually, let's go SEC filings. Yesterday, they reported an SEC filing. Yep, there it is, an RW, which you don't see often. So it's a request to withdraw registration statement form S3. So an offering. So these offerings that these guys need to run. So they need cash, right? But now they're withdrawing the registration statement, or the S3. And which one was it? Originally filed on March 3rd, 2021. The company submits this request to withdraw as it does not intend to pursue the contemplated public. So they're essentially, we're going to withdraw the statement because we're not going to go through with it. So, yay, that seems like, hey, we're not going to dilute you guys that much more. Maybe that's a possibility. Obviously, that's the first thing that pops into your mind. Oh, we're on that page. But what was that, March 3rd? Yeah, so last gets... Wow, that's going to have to go back a while. One more, maybe? Yep, there we go. March 3rd. So there's the S3. So essentially, they're pulling this one out. This. I don't want to say this is being erased, but that's a big offering. Now, how much has been used? We'll see. I don't know. I'd have to go back. So the maximum amount. Now that doesn't mean they have to use it, right? But $200 million worth of cash to be into. Well, they have to pay the fee too. But point being is that's a big offering for a small cap like this. Let's see. Sorry, I'm scrolling too quick here. Apologize. It's not what I want. So this is what it's going to cover: common stock, preferred stock, debt securities. So it's not a specific thing. This is basically anytime they're going to be dishing out some stock or in some way to get a security, it's coming off this. Again, I don't know how much they've already dished out, if any. I'd have to go back. Well, obviously they have, but I need to go back and do the math on that. But whatever's left, let's just take a look. Actually, that's 2021. Let's see what we got for just 2022, because that'll give us an indication how much these guys been. Yeah. It's just ownership updates, which I've been seeing in my email. It's I should be checking in on that, but at this point I've kind of mothballed this stock because I've made enough money, and I'll get to the charts in a bit here. Yeah, they guys have not been pulling the trigger basically at all. These guys have to go through a lot because they're adjusting. I mean, this is nothing. They're just amendments and. All right, so since 2020, this is the year. I mean, so far, the majority of this year has not been under Nadir, which is Porhausen, who was the previous CEO. So it looks like the current. Let's get to that. No, they don't have it. Our team, there is. So they again. I got to go through this. New CEO Scott Kelly's still around. Nitya Ray. Reckner's still around. Antonio's still around. So most of the original. In terms of the management board directors, I think was she's the legal step in here to get things under control. Yeah. Scott Kelly's still on there. Anyway, so the board of directors shake up there. So why am I making an update on this? It might be considering the withdrawal for the securities, the offering, and it's happening a day or two days before they're doing a webcast. Does get my ears up. Oh, we're up big today too. Look at that, 18%, 19%. No, it hit sell target and sell two, so I'm back to house money, and I did not pull the trigger yesterday on the buy target. I just My eyes were on other things, considering the overall market was falling apart. But we broke down from this uptrend ray a couple days ago, early towards the end of last week. Touched here, and now we're bouncing back up. How much wiggle room does this thing have? Let's see. Before they're start going to put the lid on it. So we might have some room to run here. So maybe that's it. No, it's probably more like right here. They had this one going for a while. Yeah, that's the one. That's the first one right there. So they have that one. We're out of that. So steep sell-off, and then it bounced off it. And this is where we are now. So right now we're popping through that. So maybe tomorrow I get a little bit more of a pop. It's got to obviously get above the 64 level. It's not going to have too much room to run, but that's a lot of volume. Notice like these gray bars that come out. It's anchored volume. That's where. So this is an area where it's exchanged lots of shares, even more below, which is important to make note of too. So if we can get close to $1 or $0.75, get above the 200-day EMA, and then you're going to have this anchored VWAP from this high, which is here. That's going to be rough. There's a lot of barriers up here, but the fact that we're bounced and we're back in, and if we can get above 64 tomorrow, you might start to see some movement here. Now, depending on what is being said, what's the updates? Let's finally get back to that. Bringing that back to pipeline. Again, update on what we're doing here, and then what are we doing with NASH? That's another trial that's been, or program that's kind of been up and running for a while. Oncology, still have a few of those going. And what I mean by that is there's still prospects. It's not, we haven't heard any bad news on these things. The COVID is, at this point, even though it's in phase 3, I'm not sure what they're going to be doing with it. Anybody who's a small cap right now that was not a big pharma that was able to get 30,000 people into multiple trials from all around the country and all around the world to prove that theirs is semi-functional against COVID. If you're not one of those guys back a year or so ago and you're still trying to get through COVID and your trial structure was based upon, acute and severe care, like that's critical. Like, I mean, both of these, I don't want to say they're dead in the water right now, but, Omicron, you got two problems. You have vaccinations, which is reducing anybody who's at really high risk is probably vaccinated. And Omicron is not nearly as, aggressive as the native, as version 1.0 there. The initial breakthrough when they do that zoonotic jump is very aggressive. But then the idea about viruses is that they want to survive. Or they don't want you to die before it can spread more, right? So it becomes more and more mild. Keep in mind that, like swine flu and Spanish flu, essentially their ancestors are still around. So why are we not having a massive pandemic every single year of flu? It's because those viruses and it's the generations after it are learning to and exist, because they'd rather you stay they don't want you to be bedridden. They want you up and running around and talking and spreading it as much as possible. Same thing with COVID. I mean, that's how cold viruses survive, is they'd rather you just stay kind of sick rather than severely sick, and your body tells you need to go lay in bed and fight this thing off, isolated in a room. It's not spreading anymore. Anyway, so that goes probably to the post-acute long haulers. That might be our last shot here. And that's probably one of the best ideas in the first place, just because the sequelae, I can never say that word, of COVID is all over the board. You've got people who are dealing with inflammation throughout the body for long, long periods of time. I don't know. I'm sure they're going to find out in a few years really what's going on there. But just so people know, after the Spanish flu, there was a few years after where the death rates after the pandemic, so the spread and people getting sick, people dying for various different reasons, was several years after the Spanish flu. So ultimately, and I think I heard an article, I remember hearing about an article about, or just the data point that, we're still dropping. There's people dying. They're just not dying with, getting tested as COVID. They're dying of various other diseases now, and or just dropping dead of heart failures or strokes. Some people might say that's something to do with vaccinations, but every time there's been a bad pandemic, and it's several years later that things start, people getting various forms of encephalopathy. There's a lot to be going on here. So why am I talking about that? I think that hopefully that's we hear a positive update on this COVID long haulers, because they're going to be dealing with this for a very long period of time. And if somebody is for some reason holding on to COVID for a long time, as in some sort of infection, and or they're in that brain fog or whatever it is, their body's just fighting itself, maybe they should be on this, because possibly this is somebody that might be dealing with, even worse medical issues and diseases, in a couple years. Because I don't want to say that this doesn't work, but there's not enough people in the hospital now to even, and if they are, doctors are going to be like, well, we got to get, obviously it's, they were going in Brazil. I don't know how that's going. Maybe we hear an update on that. It's probably a best idea that that's just over and done with. I guess I just say we lost the opportunity there. I'd like to hear some updates on oncology and NASH, but we'll see. And then just the finances. These guys need cash. Actually, let's go to as of last. Ooh, we're up 20% now. Zero. Yeah. So, this is, let's go, that's of May, so, they're not even going to have the quarterly. So we got some cash, 4.2. So they did in March. Looks like they used it. And a little bit more there, and we've basically been tailing off since. 4.2 million. You can't do too much. This is not going anywhere, really. And I remember that some of these guys, the C-suite, were taking some of their salary, if not all of it, in shares. So you need money, but you pulled the S3. You can't let this just sit idle. In addition, which is not on here, they were talking about gene therapy for essentially teaching the body to make its own leronlimab. Ultimately, in a way. See if there's anything on presentations, because they haven't updated. Yeah, see? And why am I doing this? Is because, I mean, look at like recent news. September, July. Let's go to press releases. So this is the gene therapy one that I was talking about. Now this is not in the pipeline. So what was it, Oregon? Yeah, Oregon Health Science University is going to be running it, which this guy is. But yeah, he's also serves as a scientist. Yeah, I was going to say he's been with CytoDyn. I did this in the last video. There's another one up. I think it's on YouTube too. Blah 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 blah. Another advisor. One-time gene therapy. We'll see. Now, I'll say this. Leronlimab in HIV, so far, where, like, they've got 3 programs. Come on. Right? Yeah, so they have the combination mono and then PrEP. So far, I thought they were ahead on PrEP. Preclinical? When do they work? Oh, you know what? Maybe they haven't proceeded. They haven't gotten to the clinic yet. Yeah. But anyway, thus far, everything in HIV, the clinical data supports approvals. And, you know, the big thing about and why you should be, I mean, I've been, you know, the whole, like, they're digging a hole, but it's like a mile wide, but an inch deep. They keep expanding out, but they're not really punching forward. They're not digging deeper and getting this across the finish line. But also, at the same time, like, these guys probably should be trying to display as much use as possible, because leronlimab, in terms of safety, there hasn't been really any signs of, you know, any severe reactions to it. The adverse events is, you know, it's like water almost. I shouldn't say that, but it's minimal. All right, so I guess what the point is tomorrow might be interesting. These guys might actually have a meaningful update, and I'm sure that's why this is happening. If I was a short, I would not want to be long right now, because who knows if they've got some sort of funding for something, or BLA's finally getting in. Some sort of compensation, maybe. Getting some money back from their combination trial, CRO, not doing their job correctly, apparently. I doubt it's something like a buyout, but I don't know. Am I in favor of that? Absolutely. Or some sort of, actually, maybe not even a buyout. I would be very happy with, like, somebody stepping in and doing some partnerships with these guys. Maybe there's an update on the Department of Justice. I don't know. There's so many things that they could be talking about tomorrow that could move this. Because not only they need something to go up, to move the share price up. This is for the investors. The share price, you need positive news or positive updates about progress, but then also a little bit of relief from some of the dark clouds that are overhead. So if there's something about financing or Department of Justice, settlements, something like just some of this negative stuff that headlines and issues that have basically been plaguing the ticker for over a year, maybe that should be, hopefully that's finally gone. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, there's lots to be said. They haven't said any, there's got to be. It can't be just one thing. It's a quarterly update, but then also keep in mind the amount of, again, to go back to the newsroom, press releases. This is all we got. Got a little flurry in here, but we'll see. So since getting rid of Nadir, we've had, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's like 1 a month, basically, on average. Whereas if you go back further, which those are all gone, I believe they just like kind of just wiped clean. There was like an update on a weekly basis from these guys, which I enjoyed. It made it a great trading stock. I knew it was up, what was going on. I was checking in on the stock a lot more often. Now I'm just, I mean, we're moving 20% today, and if tomorrow is just a basic update and there's no major news, this is probably going to fade hard. This company has to. The way they're doing the PR and the marketing right now, I shouldn't say that, but the way their updates and how ghost and silent they've been, I just don't see this stock just wanting to fly up on technicals. This is going to need a massive update to get this spike and stick. Because otherwise we might get just this again, right? Good news. See you later. People booking some profits because going from 30 cents to $1.20 if you didn't take profits and you were loading up here and your average was below 50 cents and you didn't take any sort of profit above $1. I don't feel sorry for you. But shorts know that. That's a good profit. They're going to pile on here and crank it right back down, and they did. They'll probably do it again if this is not a substantial. We're moving forward. We've got money. We've got partnerships. There's no going back. Other than if it's just like things are looking good. We're trying our best. Hopefully we can get something in. We're planning on submitting something in a few quarters. If we start hearing second half of 2023 across the board from all these pipeline programs, we might not even get a fade. It might just simply drop like a rock. So, anyway, I know that was a long video just to basically say that tomorrow should be interesting, but going into it, it's important to note that the circumstances of going into this is a little bit different, especially with the withdrawal of the S3. All right, I'll leave it there. I will try tomorrow. I have a pretty busy schedule, but I'll at least try to keep the conference call on. I'll be posting updates in the chat room, and it should be interesting. Tomorrow, I think today, if we can get above, maybe tomorrow we can open up above 63 and see a solid run. For us, it's above the buy threshold, so if you got some in, I didn't make an announcement on the buy threshold yesterday, but if you're anybody who's been holding on to a little bit, let's just keep an eye on these sell targets if we get there. I suspect we won't get above $1 even on some decent news. Initially, maybe in subsequent days and weeks, we might get above the sell ones and sell twos, but we'll have to see. All right, I'll leave it there.